You are listening to the Two and Out CFL podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Grab some poutine and a double-double. It's time for the Two and Out CFL podcast.
He's got it! Oh, baby!
Every week, Travis Currah.
That's Grey Cup me, which is a different person.
And Brazilian Ty.
Hunters are people too.
Talk fantasy football, bring you the latest in CFL news, and sprinkle in a little bit of nonsense.
Oh, nearly intercepted, it is! And it's over!
Ready, set, hunt!
Hey, thanks for pressing play on this episode of Two and Out. I guess it's been a while since Ty and I have sat down and talked about the CFL. It's been a while. Looking forward to doing this. And hey, the reason why we call him Brazilian Ty, if there's any new ears or any new eyes looking at the show, this goes back. I can't believe it, man. Coming on 8 years when Ty said if the Ottawa RedBlacks win 12 games. In 2015, he's going to get a Brazilian wax. Well, that November in Winnipeg, I sat in a...
What a terrible, not even the decision, but just the time of year.
I guess I thought there would have been more room in the room. I had a front row seat.
Or a back row, it depends on how you look at it.
Ty getting the full meal deal.
The best part was your wife was in there the whole time too. You just sat in the corner.
Have you ever felt more vulnerable in your life?
Oh yeah.
But if there's one thing we could say, Ty follows through with bets. And since then, you've been very careful with...
I'm quick to stop myself.
Yeah.
Speaking of vulnerability though, getting it, I live alone. I'm scared every time I step in and out of the bathtub.
Yeah. If you go down.
If something happens and my phone's not in the bathroom, that's how they're going to find me.
Man, I've had a couple rough falls in the bathroom, and I actually had a rough fall not long ago. My knee. So I was getting dressed and one leg goes through the shorts, but I stumble and my foot it's not all the way through the shorts.
And your toe is caught on the hem.
And then the short, on the laminate floor, it might as well be ice. It might as well be the slippery shoe in curling. It goes under me. Oh, I think I've recovered, but I'm no, torn ACL. I'm done. But
6 game.
Yeah, I got up and I bounced back better than I thought I would.
Makes one of us.
I did want to start the show just by saying, man, I'm on the radio and I'm on the air in Edmonton, Red Deer, Kelowna, and Kamloops. And Friday, Thursday, it was pretty heavy with what's happening in Kelowna and all the people. And actually go north to the shoe swap. You go to the Northwest Territories in Yellowknife. Ty and I personally know someone that has been evacuated out of Yellowknife.
Well, we do in Kelowna as well.
Yeah, we do. What a situation. It feels like we've been dealing with wildfires in Canada since May when it started in Alberta. And now it's just kept going all year long between floods and fires. So all the best to everybody that is affected, and thinking of all the crews, man. Look, if you've been evacuated, it's best to get out of there because there's somebody that risks their ass to save your ass if you're staying put. And there's already been stories of that. So don't try to be the hero. Just, yeah, I know it's hard. It's this whole situation is tough. It's tough to see. We're going to try to talk about some football here. And we start on Thursday where the Edmonton Elks go into Hamilton with Trey Ford as the starter and win 24-10. We only really need to talk about the first half because there was that weather delay in the middle of the halftime, and
that
then
completely screwed me.
Yeah, because you had the over, right?
Yeah,
and you were on pace to get it.
It was looking really good, and yeah, all momentum was gone. Marshall Ferguson and Matthew Schnetti should probably be fired.
They're tied for weather delays, I think.
Wow. Just this year.
So, yeah, there's been a lot just this year.
Yeah.
So the last game that Edmonton played as the Eskimos was in Hamilton, and it was a loss. But since then, Edmonton undefeated in Hamilton. Trey Ford undefeated in Hamilton.
And let's be honest, we all know why I took Edmonton on the pick'em.
Because it's Hamilton?
It's a straight heel move.
Yeah,
some people just like to watch the world burn, do it for the story, and it worked out perfectly.
You know, it looked like it was kind of going to be a back and forth affair. Edmonton actually, in the first half, they even left some plays on the field. There was a Geno Lewis third down play that he ended up dropping his return to the lineup. Maybe we'll tack that up to Russ, because sometimes he's making the toughest catches you'll ever see. But then they pull out the trick play out of the hat. Short yardage. Taylor Cornelius hits AC Leonard, the now defensive end. Still has those receiver hands with a big conversion that led to an Edmonton touchdown. So they were moving the ball with authority. The defense was, although they were struggling early on, containing James Butler, and it's almost like they adjusted or Hamilton got away from it a little bit, because James Butler had some success. 14 carries, 114 yards, over 8 yards a carry for Butler. He had 32 yards receiving as well, and he was big on the touchdown drive early on for the Ticats. But after that, Edmonton was able to limit the damage from Butler.
Well, and you can give up, like you said, 8.5 yards a carry. You give up that amount of yardage per carry, and 14 yards, he beat the hell out of them.
Oh yeah.
But it kind of turned into, I don't want to say bend don't break, but I mean, they were able to limit what he was able to do. Like, yeah, they gave up one touchdown, they gave up those yards, but other than that, those yards didn't really hurt them.
No,
it's like they gave them up at the right times. It's weird to say, like, giving up, but you see it lots. Like, teams dropping back in coverage, they can give up the yard and just get the tackle, keep the guy in bounds. It's kind of the same thing with the run. They were able to contain him.
The first drive from scoring drive from Edmonton was 10 plays, 80 yards, ending in a Stephen Dunbar touchdown, making his return to Hamilton. And then Hamilton answered back with the touchdown of their own. And then that was about the end of the success for the Ticats. Taylor Powell was on the run a lot. And then you see what happened at the end of the half. And
Coach O knows he's getting fired. I don't think he gives a shit anymore.
Oh, that was bad. Hamilton also had a punt return for a touchdown called back due to penalty. I don't know if there's a stat on this, but I feel like Tyreek McAllister of the Ticats,
he's probably lost the most punt return yards due to penalties.
And I think Tommy Lee Lewis of the Stampeders, I think he's lost a lot. Yeah. Those two guys seem like
he is going to start breaking. Speaking of punter, Tommy Lee Lewis is going to start breaking ones for big returns, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
He's an electric player. The end of the first half, that was some absolutely terrible
Andy
clock
Reid
management from So they got the ball with 1:37 left. And
the play-by-play.
The problem isn't even at the... You look at the end, I truly don't know if Orlando Steinauer or the Ticats know the clock rules. I think that they thought if it
Does he think you can use both timeouts in the last 3-minute warning?
I honestly don't know what happened there. That was, and I'm not saying they would have got a touchdown, but they would have had a chance.
They would have had a shot. Yeah.
But we look here, 2nd and 5, there's 1:12 left. The next ball isn't snapped for 16 seconds after that. And then another 8 seconds. And then after that, 11 seconds, 12 seconds. They kill 11 seconds. Look, what are these guys doing? And if you watch, it takes them a while to whistle that play in. It takes them
the clock stops after every play.
Yep.
Like, there is no reason that there shouldn't have been 2 or 3 plays called.
That's it. That's exactly it. Like, what are you guys doing?
It's poor coaching, poor execution. They're taking too long. Like once that play's whistled in, like snap, like a 1 count, snap it. Once you hear that whistle, 1/1000, snap the ball.
Yep.
Maximize the amount of time, kind of like you maximize your amount of sunlight on Sundays in the mountains. Maximize the amount of time on the clock that you have to use. Call your timeout. Like with 8 seconds left, you know that clock's going to run. So you send the field goal team out there. Why aren't you calling a timeout? Take a quick shot at the end zone, or even the play before call your timeout. You can still take a quick shot. If it's incomplete, guess what? The clock never starts again until you snap the ball.
And even if the clock gets to 0, you have
as
the
long
play
as the
clock.
ball is spotted. Yeah.
And you have the play clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as long as you're down before the time expires. Yeah. So, I truly think if they thought it got to 0, then they'd be done. That I don't it's from the Edmonton 12, 9 seconds left. They have a timeout left. And then they send out and then they send out the field goal team.
And the fans enjoyed that, I think, from the sounds of it.
So it goes into the half, 21-9 for Edmonton. Edmonton outscored Hamilton 3-1 in the second half. So nothing really ended up going down in the second half there. But that clock management at the end of that game. And then I hate to harp on it, but Mark Leggio really struggled for the Ticats here. He had a rough game. He missed an extra point. He missed field goals. How many did he miss? He missed 3. He was 1 of 4. Man. And I know that he had a new holder for this game. I think he only missed 1 all season coming into this. But that's
10 points off the board.
That's Winnipeg era Mark Leggio showing up for the Ticats.
Mark Leggy, no. 2 weeks, still got it.
Taylor Powell was 20 of 26, 218 yards. He didn't turn the ball over. But then we see Trey Ford, who also did not turn the ball over. 13 of 18, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also added 60 on the ground with 5 carries. He is so fast. When he decides to take off, it almost feels like an instant first down.
Yeah. And like, how good was Taylor Cornelius in practice? Trey Ford sat on the bench for 10 weeks.
I think that's the most mind-boggling thing of this. And I think we've said it. I think others have said it. Like, it's not working. Let's see what Trey has when the lights are on him, and clearly he's performed because he had a good game against Winnipeg as well.
And they always say, like, practice like you play. Like, if you're not good in practice, you're not going to be good when you play games. Tell that to Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah.
Just do his own thing for an hour and not even care about what the head coach had to say.
Yeah.
Greatest player of all time.
Stephen Dunbar. I should wear my glasses, but they glare.
I hit the wrong button and it made the font smaller, so that's on me. You're not going blind. Blinder.
Stephen Dunbar, 93 yards receiving in his return to Hamilton, 2 touchdowns, 25.3 points. Manny Arsenault was 3 catches on 3 targets. He's seemed to have become that possession guy, but the work he puts in, how physical he is, obviously that is big for the Elks. And Kevin Brown, they've given him 16 carries. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Getting him that involved in that offense, you want to see that average up, but when they got a running game like that, he still had over 5 yards a carry. That's big for the offense and the young quarterback.
89 yards. It opens up stuff for Trey Ford on the ground too. Like, you're able to run a little bit of play action. Like, people are going to bite on Kevin Brown getting the ball, and you might have a spy for Trey Ford. Yeah. But once that play fake is gone and they're focused on, and sometimes the running back will get tackled because they think it's the ball. Well, that's one less guy that can go after Trey Ford.
Yeah.
And Trey Ford can take off if nothing's open.
Yeah.
So like it works both ways for the run and the pass game.
Tim White for the Ticats, 9 catches on 10 targets, 101 yards. So I guess that's a positive. But Taylor Powell, he got sacked 7 times, including a strip sack from Ed Gainey, who ended up forcing the fumble there and giving the ball to Edmonton. Just everything went their way in that first half. They look like a completely different team. And I thought if Edmonton wins this game, they could go on a run.
Are we talking like finishing 9-9?
Hey. You never know. I don't think it's really that unrealistic.
Your house will be a dark place if they finish 9-9 and they finish ahead of the Riders.
Now, before the Rider game, I thought, whoa, if BC beats Saskatchewan, then Saskatchewan's got a bye. There's probably turmoil. People want the head coach gone, and then they got a back-to-back with Winnipeg. All of a sudden, Edmonton's back in this thing. Now, even with the Saskatchewan win over BC, Hamilton losing, Calgary losing, Ottawa losing, we're not that far away from Edmonton being right back in the thick of things, maybe being that 6th team squeaking into the playoffs, which sounds asinine. But
you're the worst person on the planet right now.
It absolutely could happen. And it could happen. I don't think the Elks are going to win 9 in a row here. But Ty, they could win, say, 5 the rest of the way. And then all of a sudden, hey, Jones 4 wins last year, 6 this year.
Where are we going?
That's improvement.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, let's say they finish 6-12. Is Ottawa going to win 3 more games? Is Hamilton going to win 3 more games?
This is wild.
Is Calgary going to win 3 more games? The way Jake Mayer's been looking, I wouldn't put money on it.
So Edmonton's schedule, the last 4 weeks of the year, not easy. It's BC, Toronto, Montreal, and Winnipeg. Well, hey, Toronto and
Win
Winnipeg.
against Winnipeg. Well, no. Oh, they're going to start Drew Brown. Yeah, well, he's pretty damn good.
Toronto and Winnipeg might, by that point, have her locked up.
They might have it locked up by next week.
Yeah. But then the next few weeks for Edmonton, it's Ottawa, back-to-back with Calgary, and then Saskatchewan.
Legit shot to go 3-1.
Yes. And here we are.
Like, I was like, oh, the season's it's pretty much done. We know it's going to be Winnipeg or BC and Toronto in the Grey Cup, where you can just cruise this thing home. We don't really have to do much for the rest of the year, and now Edmonton screwed it all up.
Now, is Steinauer going to be in that chair for the rest of the year?
Oh, I think he's gone regardless.
Is he going to last to the end of the year? I don't know.
There would just have to be somebody internal, I guess, would have to step up. But yeah, I think he's gone. I don't think it matters. They're not going to make the Grey Cup. They're 3 games below 500 before Labor Day.
This is crazy.
Like, they're going to lose both to Toronto probably. In a year where it was, we're all in. They bring in Bo. Sure, Bo gets hurt, not Orlando's fault, but just what seems to be incompetence from the sidelines this year with that team is just, it's been tough to watch because they've been, I don't know if they've been really good or if they were inflated by playing the East teams a little more when those East teams weren't very good. But the scars are showing. There is flaws with that team, as with every team, but now they're just more they're just showing more. They're more accentuated. It's just one of those things where it's like, this seems like a really bad fall from grace.
Let's talk about the next month for the Ticats. It's in Vancouver. It's home to Toronto. It's in Ottawa. It's home to Winnipeg.
And then Labor Day.
And then it's in Toronto.
Legit shot to go 1-4.
Yes. Oh man.
In a Grey Cup year where you went all in.
All
The second
in.
Grey Cup year in 3 years.
Yeah.
And
Completely different story.
Toronto's going to go in there that third Sunday of November and walk out of there back-to-back Grey Cup champs, and that city will burn down. That part of Toronto will burn down.
I can't wait for that block party at the 110th Grey Cup as the double blue nation shows up. Although I don't know if you saw.
I would wake up wearing a Kevin Glenn jersey and not be upset about it this time.
I don't know if you saw AJ Ouellette making his pro wrestling debut, Greektown Wrestling. Speared a guy through a table. That mullet works so good for pro wrestling. I gotta get out to they gotta bring one of those wrestling cards to the Grey Cup. I would love to see that.
Well, we had it. Cap in Mosca one year, and they never wanted to bring it back.
Hey, Mosca's he had that pro wrestling background as well, so I love to see it.
Straight no sell on the cane.
Yeah. The Bombers go into Calgary, and they leave with a 19-18 victory. This one was about the field goal kickers. Both teams working in second and long all night long, and neither team could really convert or get anything going, really.
Yeah.
Drew Brown.
Mario Houston did one time.
Yeah, and that was the only touchdown. Demario Houston reading Jake Mayer like a book, and and taking it to the house. Demario Houston's 7th interception, 10th takeaway on the season, Ty.
He is going to be their nominee. He has to be.
He might be. And
it's no slight against Willie.
Because I think he's having a great year. Yeah.
He's the only guy to have that many sacks and that many pass deflections. It's ridiculous. Ever
yeah.
In his career. But the season that Demario Houston's putting together right now is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And then a defensive touchdown on top of it now. That's what they needed.
Like Willie Jefferson, did he? Yeah, he had another knockdown in this one. Evan Holm had a knockdown in this one. Big Willie, he and you watch and
second and long.
They put him anywhere.
He's in the interior of that defense.
Yep.
And he blocks he blocks the entire middle of the field.
Early in, and Jake was having troubles with that. He had a few deflected passes here and there. And he really, look at the stat line, 11 of 24, 190 yards and an interception for Jake Mayer. What were you saying? 1 offensive touchdown in 4 games, Ty?
2 total. The other one was a fumble recovery. I got a hot take for you, and I'm not even saying it to be facetious. Jake Mayer will never win a Grey Cup. That pick 6 in Mario Houston, stared down the receiver. Terrible decision. Yeah. Terrible decision. Guy in the flat was a better option. And threw it right to him. He's not a good decision maker. Yes, he has 300-yard games. He has, I think, 1 or 2 400-yard games. That's great. But he's not going to lead you to a Grey Cup unless things turn around. I mean, sure, we probably said the same stuff about Mike Riley and Bo Levi Mitchell in the past when it was early in their careers. But there's just nothing I see that makes me want to watch him play football right now. Nothing other than to see him lose, because it just seems like he makes it look so easy.
What a swing there. Like the Stamps, man, they have a big play there. There was the unnecessary roughness called on Evan Holm, which when you watch it in full speed, you could see how it maybe looked like it was shoulder to the head. But I don't know if Bagleton sold that or what it was. Arms hit arms. To me, it wasn't an unnecessary roughness penalty.
But they have called it for being a defenseless. Maybe I can see that case. But Mayer ends up after that hitting Mark and Michelle for 45 yards.
But then you have the rough drop for Luther Hakanavanu.
Especially when you have Stamp's money line.
Oh no. So we can
at plus money.
We can give Jake a hard time, but at times this year,
Yes,
the inexperience in the receiving core, and I now since then they've gotten Ambles back, they've gotten Michelle back, so there's some experience there now. Yeah, there's some drop passes. Even Tommy Lee Lewis had one.
It's not like Luther is a rookie.
Yeah, that's a catch he needs to make.
Yeah, you're wide open. The ball was 2 feet away from him. He probably took a peek at the end zone.
Yeah,
instead of just securing a catch. Your first job is to catch that football. And we can say that sitting here.
Yeah,
you in your armchair. My chair doesn't have arms on it, but I've dropped flag football passes because I took a look. Like I know what that feeling is because you want to get in the end zone.
Yeah,
but it's just it does not help your team. It makes your quarterback look. I don't know if that pass necessarily makes Jake Maier look bad, but it doesn't instill confidence in him. It doesn't instill confidence in you from your quarterback to want to go back to you.
So that was a critical stretch in the game where Calgary needs to settle for a field goal from 18 yards out.
Derek Taylor probably loved that call.
And then Winnipeg gets a field goal, so then it's 12-9 Calgary at that point. The very next play, Jake Maier throws the interception to Demario Houston. So there was a lot of stuff that Calgary left on the field, and I don't know if it was the weather affecting them, and it was crazy. I live in Alberta. Thursday was like 35 degrees. Friday evening when the game's happening, it's 5 degrees.
Hey, my mom has said since I was a kid, like at my birthday, summer's over. My birthday was on Monday. I left camp. I walked out of camp Monday morning to go to our office at the bottom of the stairs. It was -1 with the wind chill. It's the middle of August, and we're getting wind chill on the Weather Network app.
Yep. So that's how Winnipeg ends up winning that ugly game. But they'll take it over a West Division opponent with the backup quarterback and still finding a way to win. And I thought early on, Brady Oliveira was all over the Stamps. There was a 27-yard run. He had 14 carries, 80 yards. But as the game went on, Calgary's defense did their job. I think they really started to limit Oliveira. They made the adjustments necessary.
They really only gave up 12 points.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, defense did exactly what they needed to do. And if Jake Maier doesn't throw that interception, they win this football game.
Yep.
I mean, hindsight 2020, and you never know, butterfly effect stuff. But just the way it looks on paper, it's like, oof, that hurts more than usual.
2 missed field goals from Rene Paredes sounds sort of uncharacteristic. But when there are 8 attempts.
Yeah. And the last one was from 51?
Yeah, it was a long one.
Yeah.
Yep. So there we go. The Calgary Stampeders fall again. But I would say the bright spot tie is Tommy Lee Lewis. He had 3 kickoff returns with an average of 30.3 yards, 91 yards on 3 kickoff returns. His punt return average was 18.3. And this isn't where a guy had 4 punt returns and one went 109 for a touchdown. 146 yards on 8 punt returns, the long of 45. He was putting them in good field position as best as he could. This guy, he looks like he has another gear.
He's going to break one.
Yep.
Here soon, within the next 3 games. And then I think it's just going to start rolling. Be like when Dedmon started scoring what felt like at will. I think we're going to have another one of those.
And they need to get him the ball in the offense more. He had 3 targets in this one. One he probably should have had, but just the 1 catch for 46 yards. And you look at Kadeem Carey, 10 carries, 28 yards. Credit to what Winnipeg was doing. Like, if you look at Wilson on their defense, he's back from the ruptured Achilles. He ended up having 5 tackles, 2 on special teams, 1 tackle for a loss. What a game from
Winnipeg
Kyrie
still
Wilson.
looks super beatable.
Yeah,
but and now they're alone in first place in the West.
Yeah.
And that is not, I don't think that's something BC exactly expected coming into Sunday. But I mean, you can give them 2 points. It's fine. But if they get the 4, I think it's over.
Yep. A tale of 2 halves in Ottawa as the Montreal Alouettes go to Ottawa, and they end up winning 25-24. The RedBlacks had a 17-3 lead at halftime. They were up 24-10 with about 4.5 minutes to go, and the Alouettes come back and beat the RedBlacks. Caleb Evans, 2 interceptions in the first half, including I think it was his first interception.
I was at work, and the second interception, I'm like, well, we might as well just head back. Whatever.
Yeah. And I think the first interception, both Ottawa DBs jumped the route. If the first guy doesn't catch it, I've never seen anything like that.
No.
And I don't know if they blame Mac for the route running. It seemed like Dunnigan kind of did for not fighting back to the ball when both DBs read that like a book. I think the second interception was just a Hail Mary sort of at the end of the half.
And like into single coverage, that was Sherrod Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
And he's underneath, like, it's just not, it didn't hurt you.
Yeah.
But it's also not a throw you need to make.
Yeah. But Caleb Evans ends with 24 completions on 36 attempts, 2 touchdowns, both coming in the second half. And man, most of those yards seem to come at the end of the game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Dustin Crum, 14 of 19, 130 yards and a touchdown. Again, Crum just taking an absolute pounding. He stands in there and gets smashed. He keeps getting up. Tyrell Pigram, he had 9 carries for 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. That 1 rushing touchdown he had from about the 6 or the 7.
He had more points. He had more fantasy points than Crum did this week.
Oh, he did. Wow. Crum had a rushing touchdown, which that one came, I think, in the 4th quarter. And I texted you, Ty. I'm like, Crum did his best to no sell that hit he took at the goal line.
He was out on his feet. When he stood up, I don't know what you remember Orton. He takes a headshot and he's got that blank stare and you think he's legit out. That was Dustin Crum.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess because it was after a touchdown and they're going to kick off, they might have gone through some protocol.
Maybe.
But he probably should have.
No, and
he didn't.
I don't know. I think there was a game earlier this season where Crum was really taking a beating. And I wonder if that hit affected him the rest of the way and maybe affected the play calling for the RedBlacks the rest of the way. They not only got really conservative on offense, but they did on defense too. Mm. And that allowed Montreal to get back into this game. Like,
we know what a prevent defense does.
We want to talk about the way Hamilton handled the clock. Look at Montreal. It's 23-10 with 3:46 to go. Hamilton would have no hope of working back into that game.
Montreal.
Well, I mean Hamilton because of their clock management.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're doing, yeah.
And then the next, it's 23-10. Montreal fights down the field. David Cote with a 50-yarder, which, by the way, that was 5:53 left in the game. It 8:3:17 off the clock. That 50, I'm not one to get so excited about field goals. He looked like he barely moved his leg.
Yeah.
It's a 50-yarder. Good for him. And then we have a rough little incident from Richie Leone late in the game where he takes an illegal kick, and he was dynamite all game.
Yeah.
So lots went wrong for Montreal to fight back into this game. They end up scoring a touchdown, 2:39 to go. Tyler Sneed, he ends up scoring
Wide open.
Yeah, like how do you let a guy that wide open? Now, Tyler Sneed had 3 touchdowns in a game earlier this year. He has 1 here. Touchdown Jake is out of Montreal. Can we call him Touchdown Tyler?
I don't know, so I can just go Touchdown Ty.
Okay, I like that. The 1 syllable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't hate 1 syllable nicknames.
See, that's how we brainstorm here on the show.
Yeah.
Touchdown Ty. I like it. And
I
Dr.
can't believe
Trey,
that we're giving that to him. And we couldn't have come me and go with Brazilian. And yes, it's Dr. Trey. There's not a better one.
I thought Trey's was pretty good. The
Oof.
savior of the Elks. If they go 9-9, that is his name.
Yeah, but without Dr. Dre, we wouldn't have Eminem. So, I mean, he's basically like the Jesus of the rap game.
Well, and I guess before of all this, it was forgot about Trey, and now Trey is back.
And I don't want to wish ill on anybody, but if he gets busted with marijuana in his system, like it'd be the best.
I don't know if you've seen Willie Jefferson's picture they used for the starting lineup. Like,
I've seen that picture. It's in my parents' garage.
Oh, Willie's having good times in the CFL. I love it.
Yeah.
So after that touchdown to touchdown tie, there we go.
You're welcome.
Ottawa gets the ball, and I mean, you thought they did all right because Devontae Williams had the 22-yard rush and then just got stuffed.
Well, and the thing, like, we talk about needing to run, or you got to run out the clock and you want to eat time. It's not that easy in the CFL. You only get 2 downs to get a first down. Really.
So if it's
3rd and 3, are you going to hand it off and try to get a first down, or are you just going to punt that ball away?
It's always
right?
a tough decision to make.
There's only a 20-second play clock. The clock stops until the ball's spotted. It's not like the NFL where that game clock is continually running. They're 2 totally different games, 2 totally different clock rules. You know, Winnipeg's figured it out, and I mean, they got the horses to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody else just kind of, they're average when it comes to the run game, and it shows when it comes to trying to kill games.
Yep. Now, Montreal gets the ball back with a minute 25, something like that. And then
I was watching I had it PVR'd, and I still didn't think they were going to win.
Ottawa gets him to 3rd and 4.
Right?
We haven't seen him all game. Hergy Mayala wide open, 51 yards. And then next thing you know, Caleb Evans, 3rd and 2, rushes into the end zone, takes the lead. Alouettes win 25-24. Caleb Evans hopping down the sideline, chirping our nation, the team that let him go in the not too distant past. And the Alouettes have won 4 in a row.
Jesus. That came out of nowhere. I mean, I had a 2-week vacation from football.
They're 6-3, man.
Yeah. They are hosting a playoff game right now, and probably will.
And I think this win was big to
huge
keeping that going. And it looks like the Owls are going to be hosting. Well, it could be
Edmonton.
Everyone's in play. Calgary, Edmonton, Hamilton, or Ottawa. Who's going to Montreal?
If Calgary and Edmonton both get out and Saskatchewan drops off, there's that chance too.
Calgary could catch Saskatchewan. They do have one more game in October, and the season series is pretty much it's point apart.
Yeah,
they split one.
Legit 1 point, I think, isn't it? Or might be 2, but
it's close.
And like Edmonton can still catch Saskatchewan. Let's not count our chickens here. Like, everybody's going to be all over Jake Dolegala and how he's the second coming, but it's 1 game.
Saskatchewan winning that last game off the Rouge to clinch the season series with Edmonton is all of a sudden really, really
Yeah.
big. But those
The true
riders
definition of a 3-point game. Or 4-point game, I should say.
Oh, those riders, I can't believe it. If we look at what else happened in the Ottawa-Montreal game, Austin Mack, 9 of 13, 116 yards, continues to lead the CFL in receiving. But Tyler Snead, 7 catches, 7 targets, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season.
In 5 games.
Wow. Yeah, that's touchdown tie.
3 and 2. Like,
Yeah.
he had a 3-game stretch where he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Every time you say Snead, I think you're going to say Sneer. And all I can think of is the Raccoons, I think, right?
Wow, it's been a while since I've had the Raccoons.
Cyril Sneer, the Raccoons?
Yeah. Wow. Still no real rushing game for the Alouettes, but they were able to make it work. Devontae Williams for the RedBlacks had over 7 yards a carry. Problem is he only had 9 carries.
Yeah.
And then their leading receiver was Shaq Evans with 41 yards on 3 catches. Dustin Crum, I mean, he was under fire. He got sacked 5 times, man. Or he got tackled for a loss 5 times. He was sacked 3 times. So that guy, he's a warrior out there. I think they've kind of gotten away from letting him run. It's probably good for his long-term health, but
I mean, not running is good for anybody's long-term health. Let's be real.
But again, they had the lead. They had this game, and it just slipped through their fingers, man. That's a tough heartbreaker.
It's a tough loss. We don't know what's... It's a tough loss for them. A game they most definitely should have won.
Yep.
But you're only handing the ball off to Devontae 9 times. It's hard to get him in a rhythm. You go to it at the end of the game, it's hard for him to keep his legs going. This is an improvement over last year.
It is. They're not completely incompetent.
No, they were not coming into the year Grey Cup favorites. There was not super high expectations. They needed to be better. They are improving. Crum is getting playing time.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen with Masoli? Like, I think if Masoli's not back next year, I think Crum is your number 1. The more reps he gets now, the better.
Yep.
Get more familiar, and you can start making that climb. Like, it's hard to do a slow build in the CFL because with only 9 teams and the player movement,
nobody has the patience for it.
Well, and you need to do it quick because players leave. The salary cap, or I guess salary management, comes into play and stuff like that. But like, they still have a legit shot at a playoff spot. It's one of those things where, probably not going to win that playoff game, but to get there and get the experience, be a massive, massive improvement and massive success on the season.
Are 8 other teams in the CFL wondering why the heck they let Sean Lemon sit there for so long?
Have to be.
Yeah. 3 tackles, 1 for a loss, including
the only
a
thing I
sack.
can come up with is that nobody wanted to cut somebody because everybody it was a money thing.
Yeah, what an addition to that Alouettes defense. That has been big for them. Now this last game, man, the Saskatchewan Roughriders blowing up a lot of pick'ems
blowing up a lot of Bet365 accounts.
They blew up my pick'em. I was 4-0 last week, 3-0 this week heading into this game. And the Riders win 34-29. Kean Schaefer-Baker making his return to the Riders and then gets a touchdown in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Dolegala.
We're off to the races.
Yeah, Jake Dolegala, 18-29, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. That is massive. He did have a fumble, but it didn't get lost. The Riders ended up recovering that.
So it doesn't even count.
When you're to your 3rd string quarterback and
Was Shea Patterson the backup today?
Yeah.
Like, you're 1 injury away from Shea Patterson again.
Hey, Jake Dolegala is a big boy. He can make the throws, and the big thing is
he super tall, or is Britt Dort just super short?
Dolegala's 6'7", so I think it's a combination. It's a bit of a
Why
combo.
is he playing quarterback? Why isn't he on the other side of Winnipeg's defensive line?
We need him to go two ways here.
Yeah.
But look, he even had 27 yards rushing. What a great performance. And I think you and I both know the Rider defense here early in the season, no real pressure on the quarterback. And earlier this season, so much pressure on VA, they ended up hurting him. In this one, that was on VA. He runs, he gets the first down. And I don't know what happened, if it was just a Charlie horse or what ended up happening there. It just kind of looked like, it looked pretty innocent, but
innocuous.
Getting after VA a lot. They sacked him 5 times. They forced a fumble and they recovered that fumble. They were all over BC. Taquan Mizell, 7 carries, 15 yards. The front that the Riders had, they were flying to the ball. They were flying all over the place. And they didn't really let BC get going until the fourth quarter, really.
Today they look like the Miami Hurricanes.
They looked great.
And I think, early in the year, there's a lot of pressure on this team with getting Trevor Harris in. Kind of the fans have given up on Cody. Coaching staff had obviously, it was obvious last year they'd given up on Cody. So it was one of those things like, okay, well, we're going to turn this around. The offense wasn't there, or it was, and then it wasn't, and then it was streaky. But the defense, they just always seem to be flying around.
Yeah.
And just raising hell, making things difficult. Unless you're Nick Marshall, you're making stuff real easy for the opposing quarterback. But other than that, I mean, that one touchdown wasn't his fault, but it's just nice to blame him. But, I had a couple buddies ask about this game. I'm like, I've got BC to cover, but if Saskatchewan's defense shows up, because they are fast, they are physical, and they rally to the football, they can keep this thing very close. And I think, without the way the defense played today, which, I mean, you could say that for every single game that you watch, but they were just on another level. And BC just, they had answers late. And I mean, they did make it a game, but in that first half, it was curtains, it felt like.
Yeah. Well, it's like, just look at the response from the Riders, which we really hadn't seen, because BC comes back. They actually took the lead after that big 46-yard touchdown to Alexander Hollins. At that point, it was 10-7 for BC. Well, then the Riders drive down the field. It ends in a Jamal Morrow touchdown. 7 plays, 77 yards, 3:56 off the clock. Saskatchewan's leading 13 or 14-10. And then they force the fumble on Terry Williams. And then a couple plays later, Dolegala hits Jarrah Stearns for an 18-yard touchdown. It's 20-10 Saskatchewan, 21-10 after the point.
Who came in as 10.5-point underdogs.
10.5-point underdogs. And then at halftime, it is 24-13 Riders. I don't think anybody had, I'm sure there's a lot of green glasses out there that had the Riders winning by 30.
That's the thing.
But this surprised me. The defense performing the way they didn't surprise me as much as the offense being able to move the ball as effectively and consistently throughout the game. Let's face it, they still struggled consistently running the ball with Morrow, which BC's just that good.
They still got 59 yards out of him, carried it 16 times. They did not abandon the run game. They knew they needed it.
Yeah. A lot better average than the last time they played.
And that has a lot to do, I think, with Dolegala in there. I think they were trying to take some pressure off of him for sure.
Yeah. But then the touchdown that Sam Emelis scored in the second half, the play that he made, Sam Emelis, 5 catches, 106 yards. Saskatchewan's
that had no
receiver.
business being a touchdown.
No, it didn't.
Like, come on.
That is quite the play. But then BC, they sort of started fighting back, right? They were trailing 31-13 after the Sam Emilus touchdown.
And then the Madden AI kicks in and refuses to let a team blow out another team, and then BC could not be stopped.
It's like Mario Kart when you fall to the end of the pack and you start getting all the good items.
Yeah.
You're getting blue shell after blue shell, and all of a sudden you're in second place 15 seconds later.
Yeah.
So after the Riders take that 31-13 lead, and then VA ends up hitting Keon Hatcher for a touchdown. And then VA ends up hitting Lucky Whitehead for a 78-yard touchdown.
After they had just talked about how he hadn't had a touchdown of over 30 yards yet. Stay hot, Dusty.
These Lions, they're a dangerous team. They're never really out of a game. But Anthony Lanier's in the backfield all the time. He hit Vernon Adams Jr. They hit Javon. Well, man,
Detroit took a beating.
He did. And he's such a big boy. I think, I'm trying to think of the analogy, but when, I used to play Star Wars online, and then once you get to be the Millennium Falcon, all 800 opponents turn on you.
Yeah.
Or it's like Andre the Giant in a battle royal.
Roman Reigns becomes tribal chief, and it's great for like 6 months, and then everybody just hates him.
So the Lions did put 16 points in that fourth quarter, and it came right down to it. If it weren't for that holding penalty that Perkins took.
Which one?
Yeah.
What do you have, 5?
He had a rough game, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had a really rough game. But that one that he took in the fourth quarter with about 1:14 left, forcing the Lions into the 1st and 20 situation. And then you could debate the play calling. The Lions went for the 20 yards every time.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, because they had 3 chances to get it, right?
Yeah.
And that
you're in 3 down territory anyway. I'll never understand that thinking.
Yeah.
From anybody.
You're right. If you look at the penalties that the Lions took in this one, 11 for 90 yards, but they lost 2 fumbles, and VA also threw an interception, and that was his first play after coming back from the injury. So they lost the turnover battle, the penalty battle, and the
challenge
Riders
battle, which is hard to lose against Dickinson.
The Riders played discipline, didn't turn the ball over, and they got a critical win. So Craig Dickinson, he's like the cockroach. Like,
he's getting a new contract.
I honestly think if they lost this one, at least
he's a cockroach. He's a cockroach, and Mosaic is Joe's apartment. You're gonna live forever. That is a deep cut. That there's gonna be like 4 people that get that reference.
Now, does he need to split with Winnipeg? Like, is this a week-to-week thing with him? I don't know.
I still hate him.
The Riders are 500.
5-5. Like,
I know.
We should just give him another 1-year deal. Let's call for his head after every week, and it's obviously working.
It's like as soon as the pressure is really cranked up,
then they take a time count.
Yeah.
And he was on a hot mic. Whoops.
Yeah, that time count that the Riders took, like I said, and that was before the holding penalty. Like, if
it could have been real bad.
Yeah, all of a sudden, then this is a completely different conversation. And I'm sure the post-game show, they were still calling for Dickinson to get fired. Yeah.
But some things will never change.
Collaros has a couple weeks, but the way Winnipeg looked against Calgary, all of a sudden, Labor Day's in play, baby.
I love it how you set yourself up for just such a fantastic fall.
They did it to me though. Like I watched the game at the bar. I'm thinking, the Riders gonna lose by probably 21.
No, get home early, beat the traffic.
Yeah. Nope. And all of a sudden, I'm looking to Labor Day. The Riders coming off the bye. Winnipeg is home to Montreal here. Who knows? And they do still get 9 or 10 days before Labor Day in Regina, but Man, all of a sudden it looks like the Riders have a puncher's chance Labor Day against the Bombers.
Remember when we were certain that the Riders had no shot at even, like, I wouldn't say no shot at making the playoffs, but like hosting a playoff game was out of the question?
Yeah. Well,
what just happened to this West Division?
Now it's in play again.
Yeah. What happened to this West Division?
The Riders play BC again, September 29th. Wow.
Can we talk about the schedule?
Your favorite thing.
I like it more than my real dad. Barely though.
Barely.
Toronto's bye weeks are done and it's week 11.
Yeah.
It's not good. Like, it just sets them up for injuries late in the year.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Like, I was counting. Like, I was busy at work, so I was counting how many stadiums, like how many teams in the CFL would be the primary tenant of their stadium. It's got to be all 9. Is it not? Especially during the summer.
How long? And I honestly don't know.
If
how
not,
long is an MLS
schedule?
It
might only be 8 once the MLS fires up in Toronto. But like, there's no reason that we're on week 11 and Toronto's had 3 buys already, and like, it makes no sense.
No, you're right. Like,
there is no reason. Hey, you had a bye week 1 this year, so Toronto next year your bye is now week 2.
Yeah,
like it's a 9-team league. Rotate it through the teams. You got to figure this out because it's really not fair.
I'm looking at what's happening at BMO Field. It is there's TFC going on. They kind of alternate. Toronto plays Calgary coming up this week, and then TFC has Philadelphia, and then Toronto plays Montreal, and then TFC plays Vancouver. They kind of rotate, and then the Canada women's national soccer team plays Jamaica, 2024 Olympic qualification, and then TFC.
Why do they have to qualify for the Olympics? They won the gold medal.
But honestly, if I look at the schedule, it's not that busy, really.
No, I don't get it. And the schedule's dumb anyway.
Yeah. And by the way,
too bad I missed that Randy Ambrosie interview.
It does look like the Argos are moving tickets too for the Stamps game coming up this weekend. So good for the Argos. Hopefully they
keep it is Calgary East.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully they keep up that momentum there. But you're right. It's not like a Madison Square Garden or even a Scotiabank Arena schedule where there's stuff
where Bon Jovi is basically a residency in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
What a dumb band. Like, I love Bon Jovi, don't get me wrong. What a stupid banner.
They wanted their own Billy Joel, right?
When you haven't been able to raise a banner of your own in 60, 80 years.
Well, it's like, should the Flames put up a Rod Stewart banner? I guess he's played the most shows at the Saddle Dome. There's some trivia for you.
What, George Canning doesn't count for the anthem?
But you're right. Unless the turf monsters, they need so much time in between games to make it look pretty. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah,
maybe that's what it is.
Then play more games on the road. To start the year, play more games at home to start the year.
Yeah,
and you can play a little, and then you can do your alternate thing and it gives the turf a little bit of a break. But like, I don't get it. Now they're gonna go. They're 8 games, so they gotta go 10 straight weeks.
Yeah,
and stay healthy.
That's
but
tough.
I mean, and they'll get a bye in round 1.
Yeah, so they got that.
That might help.
Vernon Adams Jr., he had 30.6 points in fantasy. Alexander Hollands, 161 yards. Had a touchdown. Keon Hatcher, 94 yards and a touchdown. Lucky Whitehead, 122 yards and a touchdown. So the Lions moved the ball.
With this game.
They moved the ball.
Yep.
Jake Dolegala had 24.3 fantasy points and Sam Amelis 23.6. Now, the leaders for the week, I feel like it was a wacky week. What were we looking at?
Oh, my God. Well, before we get into, like, what the final tally was. Can we talk about the top 5 going into this game? Because I don't know what happened to this league. I texted it to the group chat because I couldn't. I don't know what was going on. Caleb Evans, Trey Ford, Tyrell Pigrome, Dustin Crum, and Taylor Powell were the top 5 coming into Sunday night.
Wow.
Like what?
No starters from week 1?
Yeah. And 2 of them play for the same team.
Wow.
But yeah, Vernon Adams led the way, 30.6. Caleb Evans, 28.2. Jake Dolegala, 24.3. Trey Ford, 21. Tyrell Pigrome was in top 15. Beat out Dustin Crum by 1.6. Quarterback wise. Yeah. Running backs. James Butler, 23.6. Brady Oliveira was second with 11.9. I mean, you keep Brady Oliveira out of the end zone.
Wow.
He didn't get 100 yards.
What a wacky week.
What did he end up with? He had 80 yards and 19 yards on 2 catches. Like it's and they still won. So Jamal Morrow 11-9, Kevin Brown 10-5, William Stanback 8-7. And then for receivers, Hollins and Hatcher 31.1, 29.4, touchdown Ty 28.8, Stephen Dunbar 25.3, Lucky Whitehead 25.2. BC had 3 receivers in top 5. And Sam Emlis, Sam Emlis, honorable mention, 21.6.
Wow. This league, man.
There were 6 receivers from Sunday's game in the top 10.
Just when you think you have it figured out, man.
Yeah.
Sunday happens in the CFL.
The Sunday games have been surprisingly good.
They have been. There have been some good games going on here. And next Sunday, Elks and RedBlacks. Will the home streak come to an end? I think
it does.
I do too. I do. Boy, Winnipeg and Montreal playing on Thursday, Toronto and Calgary on Friday, and then BC and Hamilton on Saturday. That's week 12 in the CFL.
If Edmonton wins at home on Sunday,
what are you gonna say?
Then it's Trazus.
Okay.
Because there's just no way that they don't win 9 in a row if they win on Sunday.
Then the floodgates are open. Edmonton is saved.
Trey Ford's getting a statue. He's on the Ring of Honor already.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Rate, review, and subscribe to Two and Out at your favorite podcatcher. You can check us out on YouTube and support the show on Patreon as well. I'll be back on Wednesday.
Nothing in the mailbox?
Probably Sheldon. No, there is nothing in the mailbox.
Probably Sheldon. Yeah. So, it might have a rain day. You never know.
Okay. We never know. Well,
it is BC.
We do need some rain, so let's get some of that going. twoandout.ca if you want to send something to the mailbag. And then we'll be back getting you ready for week 12. This league, man. I love it.
Nobody's out there.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.